Hi there, this is a response to Matt Easton of Schola Gladiatoria in his recent video on everyday carry. First off, I want to wish you the best of luck and a ton of fun on your upcoming bushcrafting adventure. I'm sure you'll have a blast. That being said, I wanted to get into a couple points you made on the video that historically are not correct and from a factual point are not correct either. And that is the use of carrying a large knife while camping, hiking, hunting, or what have you, let's say in the 18th and 19th century, or even today for that matter. And to say that 19th century Bowie knives, and they are pronounced Bowie, but that's a topic for another video, are smaller is both true and false. It depends on where the buoys were used. There was, and you know, I'm not the world's leading expert in this. This has been a passion project of mine for the last 15 or so years. About 2 or 3 years ago at one of the Arkansas museums, there were essentially a showing of the world's largest Bowie knife collection. There was over 200 antique buoys there. And if you look where they were used, manufactured, or carried, the farther north you went, the smaller the knife. But the farther south you went, the larger the knife. And out of over the 200 buoys there, if you look at the knives that were carried in the southern United States and Mexico, they're averaging between 9 and 9.5 inches long. That's pretty long. But if you look at knives used in the north, whether it was in the Chicago area, British Columbia, or what have you, the average length was about 4 to 6 inches long. It's much, much smaller. And why is that? Why is there such a disparity? The reason is context. And the two main questions you have to ask yourself, and this is important for you if you're going to be bushcrafting, is what are you looking to do and where are you looking to do it? And the points I want to make here are essentially is to say that you brought up that somebody would be embarrassed to carry a large knife with them on a camping, hiking, or hunting expedition. And that may be the case. It depends on where you're at. So for example, if I was to go camping in Canada, and if I brought along something like this, a machete, yeah, I mean, I would be laughed at and ridiculed in for a good reason. It's not necessarily the length of the blade, though. It's the tool and what it's designed to be used for. Conversely, if I wanted to, let's say, go on an expedition in and around the Amazon River and was camping or going along boats there, and I didn't bring a machete, I would be laughed at because I would not have a staple tool to use something with. If you look at the growth, the vegetation, what people would do in the southern United States, the long knife, a big Bowie, and I think I have one here somewhere, one second. Here we go. Something like this is going to act as essentially 3 different tools. 1 is a knife, 2 is a machete, and 3 is a small hand axe. And why would I bring 3 different tools if I could bring one thing that does all 3 jobs? Granted, it's not going to chop as well as an axe, but it can still chop. And I can't make as fine of cuts as I can with a small knife that I can with a big knife, but I can still do that. And it's not as long as a machete, but I can still clear brush and delimb trees with it. And ounces equal pounds after a while. So if I could take a tool that does all 3 things in an area that it's appropriate for, why would I not do that? I mean, hundreds if not thousands of people carried long knives in the southern United States, Mexico, and Central America for a reason. If we look at the natives of Nepal, they carry a kukri, something like this, which is much larger and much heavier than a Bowie knife. And they've been doing so for hundreds and hundreds, if not over 1,000 years. Why? It's because they use it. It has multifunctions and it's appropriate for the environment and the tasks at hand. It's all about the context. So, to reiterate, is a large knife necessary to take with you on a bushcrafting, hiking, or hunting expedition? It depends. In certain areas, for example, if you're doing this in England, which I'm assuming you are, probably not. I would take something much, much smaller, like a Mora, for instance. The Mora makes some great bushcrafting knives that are between about 4 to 5 inches in length. And that'll get the job done. That and probably a camp axe are going to be pretty much all you're going to need from a cutting tool standpoint. But if you're in the southern United States and you need to delimb trees, you need to cut brush away and do other bushcrafting tasks against harder woods, You don't necessarily need to bring an axe. You don't necessarily need to bring a machete, but you may want to consider bringing one of these. And that's just something I wanted to bring up as a critique to your point. You're not necessarily wrong, but you're not necessarily right. There were purposes and reasons why people carried these items. And if you don't look at the context behind what they had to do in the environment they had to do it in, your answer is going to come up short. All right, thank you. Just wanted to say that. And again, I wish you the best of luck, Mr. Easton, with your camping and bushcrafting expedition. I'm sure you'll have a blast. Take care.